Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
Oh my gosh, what the heck is going on with you today?
Oh, I'm telling you, I keep messing around with the audio on this thing and trying to get the audio right. I'm by no means an expert, although I do have some experience with sound equipment. So,
Yeah.
there's been some odd things about it, and I know that listeners have had some struggle with the audio, but I've made some more changes. I think that we've got something good going on here. So, please keep us updated on whether you're hearing it well, or whether you think the audio is good. We're trying to make some adjustments with the limited funds that we have as teachers in the world. So, this is a hobby for us rather than a professional venture. So,
well, I applaud your efforts because I couldn't do what you're doing.
Well, I'm trying.
Well,
I'm trying. It's what I bring to the table.
Well, you bring a lot, and I appreciate it all. So,
speaking of the table, what's on the table?
We've been kind of bad mouthing social media quite a bit here lately.
Okay,
and I'm not totally against social media. In fact, okay. How about this? Use of social media made me want to get a Blackstone, one of those Blackstone grills. And so...
Now, I love food, so that's awesome.
Okay, well, so do I. You don't get as fat as I am by skipping a lot of meals. And so anyway, so I got one, Sherry got me one early in the summer, and I've been playing with it. And as a result, on Facebook Reels, there are cooking recipes that pop up using the Blackstone. And so I'm constantly, skimming through Reels looking for fun to make recipes. And as I ran it, so I'm looking through, and I found some good ones, by the way.
Yeah.
But I found something that made me pause. I reflected on it, watched it a few times more, and I thought, you know what? I think this would be something worth doing a podcast on. Okay. No matter what your age is, young or young at heart, I think this is something to consider. And I really do wish I had seen this before my dad had passed away.
Okay.
Because I really would be curious to know his response to this post.
Okay.
But what I liked about it is it was saying 7 questions to ask your dad before he is gone.
Wow.
Now, I think it could work for both dads or moms, but the argument that they were making is that dads are kind of the rock or foundation of most healthy families.
Okay.
That a lot of times they can be our silent heroes. And I mean, my dad was a rock. Didn't always have a lot to say, but when he did speak, you really wanted to pay attention. My dad taught me a lot of what it is to be a man.
Okay.
With his strength, with his kindness, as I went through all the many, many challenges, he was always there. And some of the things that he demonstrated was how to be a dad, how to be a husband, how to work, how to sacrifice. In my opinion, he was what a dad and a husband should be.
Okay.
And in fact, the Reel even commented that a lot of times fathers can be the roots of our family tree, that they can provide a strong, solid foundation.
Absolutely.
And so
I think there are some great matriarchs out there that do similar things too, right? Like, man, I don't want to, some families, and some people out there that might be listening didn't have a stable, like two parent household, or had maybe a dad that was abusive. and that's not really the rock that you were looking for. And the mom was so I do think that this does apply both directions.
Exactly.
For both people, and probably, whether the dad was abusive or not, if you get a chance to hear from him,
yeah,
that might be a good thing.
I mean, because we learn, so as kids, we learn a ton about how to be an adult from our parents, good or bad.
Yeah.
And, that's why as I read this, they focus a lot on, it's centered and focused on the dad.
Okay.
But I truly agree with you that this could go mom or dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be where the heck you could ask them independently from each other if they're both around these questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought maybe we could kind of explore a little bit, the 7 questions that this Facebook reel identified.
Right. Now, my parents are still with me.
Okay.
Both my real father, my stepfather, and my mother.
Okay.
So I'm not there yet. So hopefully I'm going to benefit from this and be able to ask some of these questions. I know that you have already lost your father.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you got a chance to ask any of these or not, or if you feel like
no.
I should have asked these.
I never did. And I really wished I had. I mean, I would have needed to have seen this a long time ago because my dad really struggled mightily with dementia his last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So while he was physically with us, he wasn't as mentally with us.
Right.
But I think that, when I visit with my mom, again in person, I think I'm going to ask her these 7 questions.
Yeah.
But it starts with, what is your happiest memory of us?
I mean, that's a great question.
I mean, yeah. Because a lot of times what we think, because, okay, what's your happiest memory of your mom? What's your happiest memory of your dad?
Right.
And who knows what that could be, but I would imagine, I think it would be interesting to know, okay, what is their happiest memory of them and us together?
Right.
Because I would have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, it could be anywhere from the day that you were born to something you did in your adult life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's it might be a wedding day. It might not. But there's 1,000 or 1,000,000 different points in your life, and it's probably something you wouldn't have thought was your happiest memory.
And that's why I think it would be. I mean, I could guess, speculate. I could say, maybe the day I graduated college.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only one out of my siblings to graduate college. Maybe. The day I wrote my book,
right?
Or and that was published, or the any of the things that I've done with as a consequence of the divorce.
But it could have been the day you started riding your bike.
It very well could be.
You just don't know.
No. I totally, yes. I really think this would be, and I'm anxious on all 7 of these questions. I'm really I'm going to be very interested in their take.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I would have a hard time saying what my happiest memory of my mom or dad would be.
Right.
Because I have a ton.
That's good.
Yeah. I was really
not everybody has happy memories.
No.
So it's good to have them.
It is. I've said it before, and I will continue to say, I was really blessed with 2 amazing parents.
Right.
And I didn't realize how lucky I was until I got, I probably was in my 30s, when Eric came around and I became a parent. I really began to appreciate them so much more.
Right.
Anyway, so that's the first one. What is your happiest memory of us?
Okay.
All right. The second one would be, and this would be fun to ask. because I can tell you what my answer would be if, Eric were to ask me. But
Sure.
what are those first few days of, this says fatherhood, but of parenthood like?
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you when you first became a parent?
I mean, I think that was just a very exciting time. I realized that I had no clue about anything, and now here was this other human that I need to take care of. And I was young, so like I didn't even know how to take care of myself. So it was a challenge, but it was exciting, and you feel so much love and concern and fear and happiness and all the things, like all at the same time. As at least I did as I became a parent, and I was in a happy marriage, so like that's it's still, it's exciting and scary at the same time.
I didn't know you could fall instantaneously in love.
Oh, it's amazing.
With another person, another thing, as fast as I did.
Yeah.
He was born. Eric was born at 10:03 on 10/31/03. And as soon as I saw him, as soon as I heard him, I'm going, this is the most wonderful thing.
That's just amazing.
Yes, but It was hard.
I could say the same thing about being a grandparent. It's just amazing, to see that new child know that they are connected to you in a physical way, and emotionally. You just have I don't even know how to put it into words, honestly. It's so amazing.
I hope someday to be a grandparent.
Yeah. You will be.
Yeah, I hope I'm young enough to enjoy that.
Unfortunately, we don't, as grandparents, we don't get to make those decisions.
No.
So I'm going to plan, and we're going to have a grandchild here. Right? You see lots of movies and things where the mother is saying, when are you going to give me grandkids? That's like always the goal of a parent is I want grandkids.
Yes.
Right. But the kids that you have don't always want kids.
Yeah, that's true.
I do think that's unfortunate, right? Like we're missing out on, there's just something about the procreation. There's a lot of people who are hurting out there because they can't have kids and want them. And, I hope that if they're unable to biologically do it, then they can do some adoption. But, and I don't know how close that is to that feeling, but I imagine it's similar. The day that you become responsible for another person, that you now have to show them how to live life. It's a huge responsibility that's exciting, and scary at the same time.
Oh, because kids, I heard my parents say this, and once I became a parent, I totally understood that kids do not come with an owner's manual. Yeah. And you fly by the seat of your pants, trusting your gut to do what is right. And so I think it would be neat to go and ask my parents just exactly how was it like,
right,
when you first became a parent.
And I don't think there's parenting experts. Right. Like I think that there are people who think that they know everything about parenting because they were good at it with their child. But my child's different, and I live in a different circumstance. And so like you can't necessarily, like you can't be an expert at parenting every child.
No.
You can offer lots of advice, like we do oftentimes here. But we don't know everything.
No. What you're told.
You know what you experienced, and there's your experience, but that doesn't necessarily apply to everybody.
Exactly. Well,
but it's exciting.
Oh, absolutely.
That was an exciting day, exciting few days, and every time, I would say it's not just the first time. For me, I've got 3 children. Every single time was equally exciting. Just amazing.
Well, that brings us then to the third thing the third question to ask, and that is, what have you learned about love, and what has it taught you? And I'm going, wow, to me, that's kind of a really hard question.
Sure.
Because I think you learn all about unconditional love, but I wonder how much does heartbreak fall in there? Because I know that there have been a few decisions I've made in my life that I don't think made my parents very happy.
Yeah. What I've learned about love through parenting and through my relationship with my wife is it's not really an emotion. It's more of an action.
Okay.
That's just what I've seen. Like there's feelings that are associated with all that, right? But expressing love it's not like every day isn't, like some kind of great feeling of love, right?
Okay.
But you love the other person and you love the child, so you do things that care for them.
Okay.
You act towards them in a way that is loving. And I think it's a lot more of an action. And when somebody acts loving towards you,
okay,
then you get that feeling.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That comes along with it. It excites you.
Okay, I get that.
So I'm not sure that it's, that's the way I see it.
Okay.
I've read some things that suggest that. But that it's not so much a feeling, it's like a reaction to that feeling that you have is a reaction to somebody acting in a loving way towards you.
I'll be darned. I honestly had never considered it the way you're describing, but I could see that.
Makes sense to me, but
whenever my mom and dad when my dad would come home, or whenever one would go one way and, out of the house to go somewhere, they would give each other a hug and a kiss.
Yeah.
When I feel a lot of affection, I want to give you a hug.
Yeah.
And so I could see that as an action, as a consequence of love.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and again, I would be curious to know what lessons they've learned. Because, you and I both shared our lessons. So what would be their lessons that they've learned and what it's taught them?
Good question.
So I think I would know the answer to this because I feel like my mom and dad have shared this, but I think if you ask them, especially to get specific, what do you want or wish for your kids?
Or maybe what did you want?
Okay, well, that's true.
Did you want something different? Hopefully there's not a disappointment there, but, for me, I want my kids to do better than me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And some of my kids, I've got 2 out of the 3 that have graduated college, one that has graduated from graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
My third one is working on college. I was the first in my family to graduate from college, and only so far of my siblings. But, we want our kids to do better, I think. And that was our main goal, is we wanted to do better financially and relationships and all the things. And we try to set them up for that. But, what they do with that.
Yeah. Well, I could hear my mom say, I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
And I go, okay. And as I'm thinking of that, I could, okay, fair enough. Yes, that's fine. But what does that look like specifically?
What you mean? What did they think happiness was for you?
Yeah. And
how did they define it?
I know. I brought a girl home for a family gathering once, and my mom talks to the girl separately from me. And I'm going, oh,
so I think maybe the question is, what did she say to her?
Well, I know what she said because the girl told me.
Oh.
She said that my mom had a secret wish for me to be a Catholic priest. Now, anybody that knows me, that I would, that was not going to happen. That was not something I had ever considered, dreamed, or thought of. It never even crossed my mind as a possibility.
That seems tough.
I don't know if you could see me as Father Rod,
Well, we do call you Rod Father. So.
Well, for totally different reasons.
Right. It's not the same.
No.
Even though it might have an Italian bent to it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think it would be interesting now. What do our parents want for us kids?
Sure.
I mean, I know what I want for my stepkids, and I try and not say a whole lot to influence, because I don't want to make a suggestion that makes them pivot and go in a different direction that maybe you don't want,
right? Or
give them an unrealistic expectation. You just kind of keep that, but a little inside and kind of, hope and pray that they find their way, and whatever that way might be. And I've been really impressed. It was a struggle in school for my stepson to figure out his way in life. Mm-hmm. And he made a few missteps that made me question where the heck is he going to wind up. But it turned out to be amazing. And he just celebrated a birthday this week. And I got to say that this kid is becoming a fantastic young man.
Right.
I've told him to his face that I am so impressed, and that and his sister's same way. These are kids that are, well, they're adults. I shouldn't call them kids. I'll always call them kids, but they're grown adults, right. And they're making a lot of good choices. And I'm anxious to see where this takes them, the paths that they're on.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I kind of wonder, is this what my parents were thinking too?
Yeah, probably. But we don't know. You'll have to ask your mom.
I will. I will. So that brings us to our next one. And I don't know how they would answer this. I know that my mom and dad would have probably different answers to this question.
Sure.
But the question is, when was the moment you most felt proud of me?
I think that's a question that definitely provides some affirmation for you if you can get the answer from your parent about something in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to reflect on that myself, like for each of my kids. And clearly they have their lives are still going, so maybe my most proud moment will change.
Yeah.
Before they ever ask me the question. I do know that I don't withhold those comments about being proud. Like you were just talking about your stepkids, right? Like I frequently will tell my kids, I'm really proud of you in this situation, right? Like you handled this well. You did that well. I'm proud of you for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of you for my son for graduating with a master's degree. My both the kids that graduated from college. I'm proud of my youngest one for persevering in college.
Mm-hmm.
And going through some, when she overcomes the struggles in her life. I'm proud of those moments. I was proud when they first took a step,
mm-hmm.
Or crawled or
mm-hmm.
spoke their first words. There's so many moments, right?
Uh-huh.
So to come up with like a most proud moment, man, that's tough. And I wonder how long it would take your mom to like rifle through that for your life.
I don't know.
Especially with all the things you've overcome and are still overcoming.
True. I don't know. I have my thoughts, but then again, I don't know. Heck, I'm not even sure I would know how to answer this for myself as to when have I felt the most proud of me. Crying out loud. I felt quite impressed that I wrote a book.
That is impressive, right? I just read a book from somebody else that I thought, this book is so Like maybe I could write a book.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I read other books and like your book, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything to say. You've done well in that.
Well, but then I think, okay, I am so proud of what we've been able to accomplish with this podcast as we push 5,000 downloads.
I mean, we're getting there.
I mean, but I love the fact that, people are listening to us all over the world. And I mean, here we are, just a couple of chuckleheads out of, North Texas.
Yeah.
And we're having fun. But we have people that listen to us all the time from every place around the world. And
I'm amazed at that.
And again, I'm going, wow, I'm proud of what we have been able to succeed and achieve.
Especially with the very little effort that we put into actually making it go all over the place. But and all the audio problems we've had. People are still listening. They're expecting us to fix it.
So I don't know. I think it's a neat question that I think will be entertaining to get the answer to. Because
I agree.
Because even if my stepkids ask me this question, I think you're right. What I would say today may not be what I say 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now.
Right.
And provided I'm still around 30 years from now. And it was kind of like, okay. But I think right now I could say, well, this is this. And this is how I would answer it. But give me more to work with. And there's a really good chance that might change. So anyway, so that was that one.
So we got two more.
The number 6. And this is interesting too. I mean, they're all interesting. But what is the nicest thing I have done for you?
So in other words, for your parent.
Yeah. So you're asking your mom, you're asking your dad, what is the nicest thing I've ever done for you?
I feel like I was a selfish child, so I'm not even sure I did anything for them.
Well, I thank you. I feel that way a lot too. It's about me. Well, what have you done for me? Well, I know because my parents have done so much for me throughout through all 55 years of my life. And they continue to do things for me.
Sure.
So again, what have I done for you?
Yeah.
I don't know how I would answer
that.
that.
You mowed the lawn.
Well, yeah, grudgingly.
Yeah. So you complained about it.
Oh, heck yeah.
But you still did it.
Well, right. But when you're 14, 15 years old, you complain about everything.
But that's what I mean, right? Like, I moved out when I was 18. I didn't stick around very long. And honestly, I haven't been around much since then. And so I feel like I was probably pretty selfish and didn't do much for them at all. Aside from my existence, maybe giving them some happiness, like we talked about initially, from birth, and just being around and providing them that experience of being parents
or grandparents.
I think that's definitely there, but I don't think I could actually pinpoint. And I wonder if they could.
Yeah, I mean,
a point where like I actually did something for them that they thought was good.
Which is why I would be. I like the question, and because maybe I've done more nice things than I thought. I mean, I will rephrase that. I would like to think that I've done nice things for them.
Sure.
Even if I can't remember. So again, asking them to reflect would be an interesting question.
I feel like this really prompts to the now of like, do something for your parent.
Yeah.
Do it now before they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait until they're in the last hours and saying, well, hey, what did I do for you?
Yeah.
And have them tell you didn't do anything.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
I wish last week you had helped me out with this thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do something for your parents.
Well, speaking of a last comment, this last one I thought was so moving. And when I first read it, when I typed it up for today's podcast, it brought a tear. In fact, it still does. But the last question to ask, what is the one thing you want me to always remember after you are gone?
Right. Wow.
And I
haven't lost my parents. Like I know you lost your dad. My wife has lost both of her parents.
Yeah.
So she lost her mother 19 years ago.
Wow.
And she lost her dad this year, her real father.
Yeah.
And she was kind of estranged from her real father for a long time due to some, complications between her mom and her real father. And so, she spent some time in his last days with him and really didn't ask these questions, but some of these things come up during that time. And I think this particular question, I think what I observed, I think, is that he wanted her to know that despite all the issues in life, that he loved her greatly. And that was some of the hardest moments to watch my wife go through.
Sure. I can imagine.
And it brings tears to my eyes now.
Yeah.
Because and he said it many times that he loved her. And I think that was the message he was trying to convey. Like, don't forget, like, I really did love you. Like, he didn't get the chance to do things that he wanted to do with her. Mm-hmm. He didn't get the chance to treat her like the princess that he wanted her to treat her like. He missed out on a lot of things.
Sure.
And I mean, he could have fought harder, but he didn't want to make her life a mess either.
Sure.
And so that was a tough thing. But I think that's the message he wanted to give her, right? Was that he loved her and he will always love her. And I wonder if that's not a message that most parents would convey.
Sure.
Even if they were abusive, even if they were messed up.
Yeah.
Even if they did the wrong things.
Because I can't imagine that. I mean, I know there's people out there that have a variety of issues, but I would like to think that deep down, every parent loves their kid, even if they are not very good at expressing it, especially expressing it in a way that makes the kid feel that they are loved.
Right.
So, I don't know. I again, powerful questions that
absolutely.
I think that, no, I don't think, I know that when I'm next with my mom and it's just us, I think I'm going to ask her some of these questions.
Right.
Because
I mean, we could always get her to call in on a podcast.
We could, but I doubt she would. Only because I've asked. I've asked because Bryce had his mom on, and I thought, my mom said, "Yeah, I don't think so."
Yeah. Okay. Well, ask him in private.
Well, I will. I'll ask again. Who knows? But anyway, I think that having an understanding of our parents helps us understand ourselves maybe a little.
It does. I think so.
And again, I think with time comes more reflection. And who knows what wounds could be healed.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, with that, I think we can probably wrap up today.
All right. Well, then
make sure you talk to your parents before they're gone.
Give them a hug.
Yeah.
Give them a call.
Hear what they have to say. It's important.
Yeah. Well, then I guess until next time, I'm Rod.
And I'm still Scott.
That's good. See ya.
Bye-bye.